In this world, a woman's dream is to marry a prince. But the prince, holding a grape, proposed to an ugly girl in public. "If you eat my strawberry, you'll become my bride. Then I'll throw it up and give it back to you." Fortunately, the girl's mother quickly covered her mouth to avoid unnecessary trouble. Leia had no choice but to pretend to be dark and ugly every day. But not only did she fail to make Prince Ace dislike her, she inadvertently captured the heart of the neighboring kingdom's prince. The girl was originally a novelist with 2.5 years of experience in the modern world. She was unexpectedly transported into her novel and became the older sister of the original protagonist. At first, when her mother was pregnant, she prayed countless times that her sister wouldn't be born. Seeing his daughter crying sadly, her father gently patted Leia's back. "Even if Mom is holding your little sister, Mom will always be Leia's mom." "What? Do you think you're still a little kid who cries and makes a fuss because you're afraid Mom and Dad will be taken away?" Looking at her father making faces at her, the girl couldn't cry anymore. "So ugly, so ugly. I made you so handsome just so you could hide." Jerk Lucian, Peter, Julian, Theo. They were both characters Leia created in her novel, and also the parents of the protagonist, Rowena. But this story was different from ordinary novels. After all, who needs fluff when you can have angst? She didn't write it like a typical novel, giving the female lead and the second male lead unhappy childhoods. Because only the sweetness of childhood can highlight the bitterness of the future. Although the ending of the story is full of happiness, the hardships the protagonist faces will still be very painful. So until the last moment, she prayed that Lucy wouldn't give birth to a daughter. But Rowena still actually arrived by her side. No matter how much Leia denied it, Rowena was the child of her beloved sister, Lucy, and Julian, a character she meticulously crafted. She was the one who shouldn't have been born. Because her body was so small, Leia felt sleepy all day long. Julian suddenly woke the napping girl. "Little Leia, come play with Daddy. How about we go have some tea?" Leia didn't understand why Julian came home so early today. "Of course, it's because I'm afraid you'll be bored. But I got His Majesty's permission today, so it's okay. I'll lie down in front of him and make him let me go home early no matter what." She yawned lazily. "I knew I shouldn't have made him such a lazy character. Now look, he keeps sneaking back to interrupt my sweet dreams." Julian gently leaned close to Leia. "You'll always live with Daddy, right?" That night, Leia couldn't help but complain to Lucy about their father. "I always feel like what Dad said at the end was a bit strange." Lucy looked at the child in front of her. "So little Leia, what do you think?" "Of course, I'll always be with Daddy, Mommy, and Rowena." But she still didn't understand why Julian suddenly asked that kind of question. Maybe it's because the prince of the neighboring kingdom has to be separated from the king for a very, very long time. That's why Dad thought of you. The three families with special abilities are destined to sacrifice themselves for the world, so most of them are just figureheads. Although the current Emperor Azel is an exception. He, along with Julian and Lucy, became a powerful emperor through reforms. But the neighboring kingdom is the complete opposite. Currently, the Empress is in power, and the king is just her puppet. In order for her biological son to successfully ascend the throne, she constantly torments Lane. And Lane is the male lead of this novel. Powerless to protect his son, the king could only send Lane to the Empire under the pretext of studying abroad. Because they were the same age, Lane and Prince Ace grew up together. Although they only spent a year together, for Lane, who had an unhappy childhood, it was the only year he felt happiness. Little Leia angrily went to Julian's study, hoping he could help the poor prince. "Why do you suddenly want me to save the prince of the neighboring kingdom?" Julian was a little puzzled. "If we save the prince, we can get the neighboring kingdom," little Leia said with innocent naivety. "But Daddy doesn't want the neighboring kingdom." "Then give the neighboring kingdom to the prince. After all, there's nothing wrong with being friends with the king of the neighboring kingdom. Otherwise, I'll make you run around the earth." On the other side, Prince Ace was happily eating his green tea cake. Beneath his bright smile was a child as angelic as could be. The Empress gently leaned close to Ace's face. "Ace, you'll meet a new friend soon." He put down his green tea cake. "A new friend? From which family?" His childish tone revealed a maturity beyond his years. "She's a maid from the Theo family, a cute little girl a year younger than you. It's Leia. Do you know her?" "I remember you've never met." The Empress looked puzzled. He nodded obediently. "Father told me about her last time. She will be my bride in the future." The next day at breakfast, looking at little Leia eating heartily, Julian hesitantly asked for her opinion. Do you want to go to the palace with mommy and daddy? Not understanding why Julian suddenly brought this up, she simply refused. She only learned from Lucy that the Duke's family seemed to have a marriage contract with the royal family. But there was no such thing in the original story. No. In the original story, Rowena was the sole heir of the Theo dukedom. But now, including me, there too. So even if one person marries into the royal family, it won't affect the inheritance. But Prince Ace has had a crush on Rowena since childhood. A bad feeling welled up inside her. If she were to get engaged to him, wouldn't everything be messed up later? So having him come to the palace was definitely not just for a simple visit. Later, when Rowena's abilities manifest, she, a noble without any powers, would naturally become the royal family's daughter-in-law. She didn't want to be the empress. Although the status is high, there's a lot of work involved. It's much better to inherit the family fortune and enjoy life eating, drinking, and having fun. Besides, getting engaged to a 5-year-old brat is simply outrageous. Although Xiao Leia didn't want to go, seeing Lucy and Julian's troubled expressions, she couldn't refuse. Anyway, Ace will like Rowena. She could take this opportunity to make him dislike her. A few days later, Xiao Leia arrived at the palace as promised. Her jet-black silver hair, set off by the princess dress, presented a striking beauty. She lifted her large, captivating eyes. She was simply too cute. The Empress couldn't help but reach out, startling Xiao Leia, who quickly backed away. I'm so sorry, Xiao Leia. Seeing such a tiny and adorable child, I couldn't help but want to pinch her cheeks. The Empress's praise left the girl unmoved, because she really was adorable. Then she warmly invited Xiao Leia's family to sit down. Even watching her eat a grape almost melted their hearts. Is the strawberry delicious, Xiao Leia? Delicious. So Daddy Strawberry is also ours. As if it were the most natural thing to do, she snatched Julian's strawberry. But Ace was quicker, offering his own strawberry to Xiao Leia. You can have mine too. His bronze skin and deep blue eyes made him look like a doll. She politely thanked him, looking at the innocent little prince before her. She thought, he'll actually grow into a 6 feet 3 inches charming young man. It's unbelievable. The Empress apologized for the king's previous mention of engagement. She had originally hoped the two children would become friends. She didn't expect the king to directly propose an engagement. Listening to the adults' conversation, little Ace became unhappy. He looked at his mother quizzically. Aren't Leia and I getting married? Xiao Leia almost spat out the fruit tea she had just taken a sip of. Julian also awkwardly explained, Your Highness, you can only marry someone you truly love. Clearly, Ace didn't understand the meaning of this sentence. He only knew that his father said it would be good for the royal family and the Duke Theo's family to be united through marriage. It was hard to imagine this was something a 5-year-old was worried about. The Empress agreed, telling him, marriage is about marrying someone you love. If you focus too much on family interests, it will be difficult to find someone you truly like. Then if I like Leia, can I marry her? That won't do either. Xiao Leia has to love you too. He looked at Xiao Leia pitifully, but Xiao Leia frankly expressed her feelings. You're not my type, so I will absolutely not marry you. But I gave you my strawberry. You still won't marry me. She frowned impatiently. Does this kid really think he's all that just because he's cute? I'll get back to you then. Fortunately, Lucy quickly covered Xiao Leia's mouth, preventing her from spitting it out. She wanted to say more, but her mouth was held tightly shut by Lucy, who picked her up. Lucy apologized to those present, saying she needed to excuse herself with her daughter. Looking at the fuming Xiao Leia, she didn't understand why her daughter hated playing with children her own age so much. Xiao Leia, if you don't like him, Mommy won't make you. Stop, marry him. Xiao Leia turned her head sulkily. I know, but since you know, why are you still angry? His Highness just wants to be friends with you. Xiao Leia just thought he was strange and different from other children. Everyone treated him as the crown prince. Although he had many companions, he didn't have any real friends. That's why Mommy and Daddy wanted you to meet, because you're both like that. But Xiao Leia stubbornly insisted that even without friends, she wouldn't feel lonely, because even the best of friends were fake to her. Everything here was just a character in her story. But if Ace feels lonely, I can consider being his friend. That afternoon, Ace came to find Xiao Leia with a basket of strawberries he had carefully prepared. Big sister I shouldn't have asked you to marry me just because I gave you a strawberry. But can we be friends? Looking at the hesitant little prince, Xiao Leia couldn't help but chuckle. What? This is too cute. She picked up a grape. Despite being only 4 years old, she coaxed little Ace to open his mouth. So sweet. Then can I call you Leia? Of course. Then I'll call you Ace. Hearing Xiao Leia say this, Ace was instantly delighted like a child. Xiao Leia also gave a practice smile. I really want to go home. After that, Ace would often tell Xiao Leia fairy tales from books. Who made Ace such a boring prince? That would be me. How annoying. She had been his friend for 3 months now, but every day was either strolling, eating snacks, or listening to fairy tales. And these were all fairy tales she already knew. Was it because this was the novel she wrote? When they reached the part where Cinderella danced with the prince in glass slippers, Ace shyly hid his blushing face behind the book. Wow, I want to dance with you too. He started learning to dance a while ago, and he even got praised by the teacher. Really? But I don't know how to dance. Seeing that Leia didn't refuse, Ace abruptly stood up. Then I'll teach you. Before Leia could speak, he hurriedly said he would go and make preparations. I was so confused before why he kept talking about the story of the dark-haired girl. So he wanted to dance with me. How cute. Back in high school, when he was chasing his idol, he'd already dabbled in all kinds of singing and dancing. Ace quickly came running back, excitedly. Taking Leia's small hand, he said, "Everything's ready. Let's go." But when Leia got outside, she couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. What? What is this? Aren't we supposed to be dancing? I asked the teacher to prepare the piano, and Mother said she wanted to watch us dance too. But why is there a painter here? Actually, it's because I was bragging to Julian about coming to watch you two dance. And then he got upset. So I decided to have someone paint a picture of you dancing. I can only blame myself for making them all so obsessed with children. Thinking about it now, things fell off from this morning. The new clothes that were prepared were clearly couples' outfits. They must all be in cahoots. Accompanied by beautiful piano music, the two children danced gracefully in the garden. The painter concentrated on his painting. But suddenly, Cinderella's glass slipper stepped on the prince's little foot. But Ace didn't react at all, smiling at his princess. What a klutz. Ace always noticed how Leia was often gloomy. He thought she disliked him, so he suggested a walk in the courtyard. But Leia didn't want to walk. Then I'll carry you. Leia, I heard you have a younger sister. What does she look like? You mean Ina? Like me, she has platinum blonde hair and purple eyes. But she looks more like mother, while I look more like father. The two children chatted casually and soon arrived at the courtyard. What Leia didn't understand was why he only liked playing with her. He clearly had other friends. Ace told her seriously, I don't like other friends. I only like you. Leia didn't quite understand what he meant. Because you and I are the same. We're both children of the 3 great families that everyone has expectations for. She sighed helplessly. Ace is the most famous shield enigma in Greco-Roman mythology. He's a character who is willing to become a shield for everyone, for the people he loves. He's the kind of perfect king that only appears in fairy tales. But the little guy in front of her was still just a child. On the way home, looking at his sullen daughter, Julian asked, "What's wrong, Leia? Did something happen?" "Nothing," she said, petulantly hiding her face with a rabbit. "Are you happy to suddenly have an older brother?" "How could he be my older brother? His birthday is only a little bit before mine." The sulking child made Julian laugh. Back then, my father and Ace's father also argued about who was the older brother. But my father was born a whole month before him. By the way, Leia, the portrait I painted of you two is finished. You both look so adorable, I didn't know how to describe it. So I discussed with His Majesty who was more handsome, you or Ace. And he actually said he couldn't say without seeing you in person. It's always because of that stubborn guy. We agreed to have a family gathering this week. Listening to Julian's words, Leia was speechless. They were just like 2 children who never grew up. In the palace on the other side, the king looked at the mural on the wall. "Empress, what kind of child do you think Leia is?" Charlotte answered without hesitation, "An angel." But he didn't seem to have any expectations for Leia. Charlotte scoffed. "Then why did you bring up the engagement?" He looked at Ace, who was sound asleep. He had originally thought his son was the most mature child in the world, but that excessive maturity, which didn't belong to his age, always made him worry. He was only a 5-year-old child, but the moment he saw little Leia, he knew. This child was destined to change Ace. The king and Julian's gathering went ahead as planned, but with the king constantly staring at her. Leia felt like her face was being scrutinized. The two men bickered at the dinner table. Leia suddenly smelled a rich aroma. When her gaze fell on Julian, she realized it was coffee. Carbs, alcohol, and coffee were the three necessities in Leia's life. She really wanted a nice sip, but Julian told her, "Children can't drink this." She frowned angrily and resorted to her ultimate move, launching cute beams. The child's sudden cuteness almost overwhelmed Julian. "But for Leia's health, you can't drink it now." She stuck her tongue out secretly, but the king across from her saw everything. He handed his coffee to little Leia. She took a big gulp and finally felt satisfied. Ace picked up a donut and offered it to Leia. Leia shared half of the treat with Ace, responding to his friendly gesture. However, the knowing looks from everyone around made young Leia turn her head in embarrassment. "I can't stand it anymore. Let's go play outside, Ace," she said, taking his small hand. Leia disliked being treated like child. She didn't have any particular destination in mind. Ace, trailing behind her, suddenly called out. He mysteriously reached into his pocket. It turned out he had noticed Leia seemed to like coffee and had secretly taken some. Seeing Leia's confused expression, Ace popped a coffee bean into his mouth. But before he could chew it twice, he spat it out. "What is this?" he exclaimed. "Silly, why did you eat it?" A memory suddenly flooded back. Something similar had happened to her before. The heartbroken look on her brother's face as he died flashed before her eyes. Sensing something was wrong, Ace rushed forward with concern. But all Leia wanted was to go home. Longing for her family washed over her like a tidal wave. Ace, unsure what had happened, stood by helplessly. She clearly remembered holding her brother's hand as he passed away. Her brother, who usually only teased her, had cried so sorrowfully. Near her breaking point, Leia threw her stuffed rabbit at Ace's face and collapsed onto the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. She had tried so hard to connect with the people here. But this was the world of her own novel. No matter how hard she tried, it still felt like a world she had created. Maybe it was all just a dream, Leia kept telling herself. She desperately wished that when she opened her eyes again, she would be lying in a hospital bed. She longed to see her real mother. Tears flowed uncontrollably until her eyes were swollen and she was exhausted from crying. Even after being hit, Ace gently wiped away Leia's tears. He was filled with helplessness and self-blame. "Was it because I gave you a bad coffee bean? Because I wasn't reborn as a kitten? But why would you want to be reborn as a kitten? If I were a kitten, we wouldn't be friends," Leia sobbed. The light in her eyes seemed to dim. "Leia, do you hate me?" "No, I like you. What about you? Do you like me? Or rather, should you like me?" Ace stammered, unsure how to answer. "Isn't it because I'm a Theo that you like me?" No, it's not like that." Leia understood what the little boy was thinking. He was more concerned with whether he should like her than whether he did. "You said before that we were the same, but you're wrong. We're not the same. I'm friends with you because I like you. But you're not. If you keep thinking like this, I won't be friends with you anymore." But didn't you say you liked me?" "I do, but I don't want to like you one-sidedly." "But I like you too. But if I wasn't a Theo, you'd treat anyone the same way, wouldn't you?" Ace quickly denied it. I just don't know what to do." Tears slipped down Leia's cheeks. Cupping Ace's face in her hands, she said, "It's not about what you should do. It's about putting what you like first." But he had to be a good prince. Leia wished he could be more selfish. No matter what, she liked him. Even if this was a world she created, she deserved to have people she cared about. She didn't know when this journey would end, but Leia hoped he wouldn't have any regrets. Even if he suddenly decided to become a villain, she would still like him. Maybe coming here was fate, a chance to save everyone. Because whether they were protagonists, supporting characters, or villains, she loved them all. Thinking of this, Leia felt a little better. "Ace, if you like me, if Ace likes me, then let's be real friends." Wiping her tears, she shook her head firmly. "I don't want to just be real friends. I want to marry you." It should have been the prince shedding tears, but it was the princess. The prince didn't understand the princess's heartache. All he could do was wipe away Leia's tears. Faced with Ace's sudden proposal, Leia was utterly bewildered. "Whoa, hold on. Getting married at your age is a bit difficult." "Why? But don't we like each other?" "There are many kinds of liking. Marriage requires a very, very strong kind of like. But I like you very, very much." Seeing Leia's silence, clever Ace quickly realized something. "So, I need you to like me very, very much too, right? I'll definitely try my best." Just like in a romance novel about a boy with a pure heart. It's hard to imagine a 5-year-old saying such things. It's just a shame he's got a runny nose. It kind of ruins the image. Xiao Leia, oblivious to Ace, stood up. "Then try your best." She was completely unaware Thought of when Lucy had started eavesdropping, probably from the moment you were proposed to. Noticing the girl's red-rimmed eyes, he asked with concern why Xiao Leia was crying. Pointing to the coffee on the floor, she said, because His Highness made me drink this. Ace chimed in, bowing apologetically, it's all my fault. He quickly realized that things might not be so simple. So, I hit His Highness with a doll. I hit him 3 times with the doll. Looking seriously at Xiao Leia, he said, you should know what you did wrong. I shouldn't hit people, and I definitely shouldn't have hurt His Highness. Then why did you do it? But, Mama, Ace needs a real friend. I like Ace, so I wanted to be his real friend. But Ace was only nice to me because I'm a maid in the Piaoi family. I didn't want to be friends with him at first, but he stubbornly wouldn't let me go home. I got angry, so I hit him. Hugging Ace beside her, she said, but we've made up now. Kneeling halfway in front of Ace, she continued, regardless, I must apologize for what Xiao Leia did today. And I'm sorry for burdening you unnecessarily. Also, whether or not your Highness is an excellent prince, Julian and I will still like you. So, your Highness, you don't have to try so hard. Rolling his eyes, he thought as if, you've clearly been eavesdropping for a while now. Gently taking Xiao Leia's hand, he said, let's go home now. After returning home, Xiao Leia constantly looked after Aina. This well-behaved little sister didn't cry or fuss. She even tried to talk. Truly a novel's heroine. Do you like me, your big sister? Listening to Xiao Leia, Aina tried to speak, but all that came out was ababa. She was just too cute. From initial denial to anger, then compromise and depression. Now, she seemed to have accepted the situation. If she kept pretending to be oblivious, she'd be exhausted. So, who was she really here to help? Since she couldn't go back, she would live well as Xiao Leia. The next day, Xiao Leia was fuming, hands on her hips. She was angry. Lucy was leaving for 10 days without telling her. If she hadn't woken up early, Lucy would have just left. But according to the plot, Lucy should be meeting Lane soon. No. Next time, you have to tell me. She threw herself into Lucy's arms and gave her a big hug. She hoped that kind Lucy wouldn't be too upset when she saw who it was. After seeing Lucy off, Julian invited Xiao Leia on a date. He invited her to see a play. The name of the comedy's goddess happened to be Leia. Xiao Leia learned from her father that on the day they found out they were expecting her, Julian and Lucy went to see that play. They decided that if it was a boy, they would name him after the main character, and if it was a girl, they would name her after the goddess in the play. Speaking of which, our little Xiao Leia's birthday is coming up soon. Is there anything you want? Xiao Leia's expression suddenly dimmed. Shaking her head, she said she didn't want anything. In her past life, her birthday was on Christmas Day. She used to wish for snow on her birthday. Meanwhile, the protagonist, Lane, that was in a carriage on his way to the Empire. It was his first time traveling alone to an unfamiliar place. Fear and anxiety churned within him. Before he left, his father had said that he would be safer in the Empire. Burying his face in his arms, he sobbed quietly. It was all a lie. Suddenly, the carriage shook violently. What's happening? Are we being attacked? The already anxious child became even more frightened. Looking at the thick black smoke outside, a bad premonition grew stronger. A pair of strong hands tore open the carriage window. He closed his eyes in despair. This time, he was definitely going to die. However, the person only urgently called out his name. Lane opened his eyes abruptly. Who was he? Your Highness, give me your hand. Come here. Lane remained frozen in place. Lucy had no choice but to let go of the reins and pull Lane out. Immediately afterward, a giant rock fell from the sky, crushing the carriage. It was fortunate that Lucy had arrived in time to prevent a tragedy. The other knights, arriving late, broke out in a cold sweat at the sight. They were still shaken. How could you do something so dangerous? Lucy couldn't stand by and watch the prince in danger. Lane's steward also rushed over. From him, they learned that bandits had suddenly attacked, causing Lane's carriage to go out of control. Seeing Lane gradually regaining his composure, Lucy put him down and gave a knight salute. Greetings, Your Highness. I am Lucy Ampeter, the older sister of the female lead, a character present in the original novel, charmed and tamed all the male leads with her cuteness and ego. The pure-hearted young man who was supposed to fall for her younger sister proposed to the older sister in public. With just a single piece of bread, she made the future demon king willingly become her loyal follower. It had been 11 days since Lucy left, but there was still no news of her return. Julian had also been working late recently. Xiao Leia felt a growing unease in her heart, but her nanny's sudden appearance interrupted her thoughts. What game should we play today? Xiao Leia just wanted to lie down at home and sleep. That won't do. the nanny had to resort to her secret weapon. If Miss plays with me, I'll make your favorite brown bread later. Just thinking about it made Xiao Leia's mouth water. She specifically requested extra raisins. All right, let's play with dolls today. I'll be the lion, and Nanny will be the deer. If the deer wants to survive, it must feed the lion. Friendly reminder, the lion loves bread. The nanny sighed. I'll go make the bread for Miss right away. On a normal day, Xiao Leia might have played along, but today, she was truly not in the mood. Rowena's cries suddenly reached her ears, just like her mother, Lucy. I can hear her from so far away. When Xiao Leia rushed over, the maid was trying to soothe the wailing Rowena. The child was probably sleepy. Upon seeing her favorite older sister, Rowena immediately quieted down. So, Xiao Leia took over the task of looking after the child. Fortunately, she was still small, so even a crib was big enough for the two of them. Looking at Rowena's sweet sleeping face, Xiao Leia found it amusing as she slowly drifted off to sleep herself. When she opened her eyes again, her nanny was looking at her with a puzzled expression. You wanted bread just a moment ago. How did you fall asleep so quickly? Munch, munch. Xiao Leia ate the freshly baked bread. So cute. By the way, Miss, a friend will be coming to spend some time with you later. Xiao Leia assumed the nanny was talking about Prince Ace, as he was her only friend. By the way, when is Mama coming back? Before the nanny could answer, the maid suddenly burst through the door. Upon learning that Lucy had arrived at the front door, Xiao Leia grabbed her unfinished bread and rushed out. But outside, besides Lucy, there were some unfamiliar faces. Xiao Leia, come and say hello. This is Prince Lane from the Kingdom of Helpless. Looking at the male lead from her book, Xiao Leia was momentarily stunned. She didn't understand why Lane was here. Was he the friend her nanny had mentioned? Lucy explained, the prince will be staying with us for a while. But according to the original story, he should be going to the Imperial City at this time to become friends with Prince Ace. Hearing Lane's stomach rumble, Xiao Leia didn't hesitate to offer him her favorite bread. But the prince kept looking at her nanny, only accepting the bread after receiving her approval. Xiao Leia knew this must be someone the queen had sent to watch over the prince. Don't let the child go hungry. After receiving Lucy's praise, Xiao Leia enthusiastically greeted Lane, but Lane remained reserved. Hello, lady. Just call me Xiao Leia. So, Bunny Prince from a neighboring kingdom, do you want to be friends with me? Seeing Lane lower his head silently, Xiao Leia continued, there's still one spot left in the Demon Kings for Heavenly Kings. Aren't you interested? Lane didn't quite understand what Xiao Leia meant, but it didn't matter to him. Lane's presence at the Duke's residence must have been Lucy's idea, and as Lucy's daughter, she should naturally become the prince's good friend. Extending her small hand, she said, from now on, you'll be one of my 4 heavenly kings. Don't underestimate my small size. I'm a very powerful demon king. I'll protect you from now on. Looking at the girl's bright smile, the little prince's face flushed red. Taking the prince's arm, Xiao Leia suggested they have a picnic in the courtyard. Lucy was naturally delighted. It works out perfectly. Your Highness and your attendants' rooms aren't ready yet. Leave that to the butler. Xiao Leia suddenly called out to the butler. Leaning in and whispering in his ear, Grandpa Butler, I want you to be one of the 4 heavenly kings too. Let's do bad things together. The butler was taken aback at first, but then smiled after understanding her meaning. It will be my honor. As the Duke's butler, and also in charge of Julian's intelligence network, the butler was a formidable figure, truly a perceptive grandpa. Turning back, she took Lane's hand. Before the picnic, she wanted to show the prince her younger sister, but she ran too fast, completely forgetting she was still only 4 years old, and she fell flat on her face. Darn it, how embarrassing. Lucy rushed over. That's what happens when you run so fast. Little Xiao Leia was almost in tears. Not only did she fall face first, but she was also scolded by Lucy. Faced with her daughters pouting, Lucy, like Julian, was helpless. She picked up each child, one in each arm. But Lane seemed a little overwhelmed. What's wrong, Your Highness? Should I put you down? Blushing, she stammered, in no need. Carrying the 2 little ones, she arrived at INA's room. Lucy suggested they play here for a while she went to change her clothes. The nanny enthusiastically introduced herself to the prince. But Lane reacted by hiding behind Leia, as if startled. Although she didn't know what was going on, Lane's reaction was just too cute. My little one, I really want to take a bite. Lane, sensitive and suspicious, remained wary of everyone. This was because the environment he grew up in didn't allow him to trust others. But this time, he appeared by her side as her first member of the 4 heavenly kings. Could it be that you're the one I'm meant to save? The dream of every woman in this world is to marry a prince. But the girl only wanted to obediently inherit the family fortune and enjoy a laid-back life. As a character who shouldn't exist in the novel, her appearance caused the original plot to deviate. The pure-hearted prince, who was in love with his sister, proposed to the girl in public. At first, Leia felt that everything here was fake, because no matter what, this was just a world she had created in her writing. But the moment she met Lane, Leia clearly realized that perhaps heaven had arranged for her to come here to save this poor little thing. Looking at the little one foraging for food, he looked like a little hamster. But the way this child ate, as if possessed by a starving ghost, didn't look like someone who had only been hungry for a day or two. She was still very curious. Thought about why Lane had come to their house. It was because they had encountered an ambush on the road. Lucy felt that it would be better to keep him at her house than in the royal palace. It was obvious that it must have been the Wicked Queen's doing. However, if anything happened to Lane at the Duke's mansion, then Lucy would be held responsible. And all of this, of course, was something Julian had volunteered to help with. But in this situation, she couldn't do anything. Although she really wanted to beat up the nanny who was watching Lane, but she just looked like she would die with one punch. She wanted Lane to stop eating for now. After all, Julian would be back for dinner. If he ate too many snacks now, he wouldn't be able to eat dinner. The boy nodded obediently. She carefully wiped the stains from Lane's mouth. Julian finally returned before dark. He eagerly picked up his little darling and gave him 2 kisses. All right, no more kisses. But Julian acted like a spoiled brat, unwilling to stop. If you kiss Daddy, Daddy won't kiss you anymore. Leia, having no way to deal with Julian, obediently listened. Watching this heartwarming scene, Lane smiled for the first time. It reminded Leia of a passage from the original novel. Lane, whose memories were becoming increasingly hazy, recalled the only happy year of his life and suddenly smiled. Leia felt that, at least during his time here, she wanted this little boy to be happy, just like in the original story. So it was dinner time. Just because a piece of beef he had picked up accidentally fell on the floor. But the nanny insisted he had to eat it. She seemed to have completely forgotten that they were currently at the Duke's residence. And as one of Leia's 4 heavenly kings, how could he pick up food from the floor? Here, mine is for you. I'll show you the Demon King's castle later. But the nanny informed him that the prince had lessons later. When she heard about the almost insanely packed schedule of lessons, she thought, what the heck? He's only 5 years old. In that case, I'll go and sit in on the lessons too. The nanny wanted to stop her, but she couldn't refuse Lucy. After all, this was the first time Leia had actively asked to study. However, Leia still underestimated the content of Lane's studies. Making a 5-year-old child copy things he couldn't even understand was clearly torture. Moreover, the content was completely instilling the wrong ideas into the prince. Leia certainly couldn't just let it go. So she made up an excuse and took Lane aside. Right in front of the teacher, she tore the papers to shreds. What is the meaning of this? Making a child who can barely recognize any words copy this nonsense. To torment him, to constantly belittle his self-esteem. His intentions exposed, the mortified teacher was a little panicked. But he still believed that the person before him was just a 4-year-old brat. He tried to bluff his way out. But Leia gave him only 2 choices. First, resign from your tutoring job and return to your country. Second, I tell my parents about this and charge you with insulting the royal family. You should know that insulting the royal family is punishable by death. Hearing this, the man completely lost his composure. But I can also give you a third option, that is to properly teach the prince subjects suitable for a 5-year-old. He couldn't believe that Leia, standing before him, was only 4 years old. Even if she's Prime Minister Theo's daughter, this is unacceptable. He won't let any of those who bullied Lane get away with it. Come on, little one, he said, taking Lane's small hand. Let's go play. The 2 children went through a secret passage in the Duke's mansion and arrived at a garden outside. Leia wanted to weave a crown of flowers for Lane. Lane sat obediently, quietly watching the girl who looked like an angel. When Leia placed the flower crown on Lane's head, it was just as she had imagined. He looked so cute. Lane didn't quite understand why Leia kept giggling. He tilted his head in confusion, and the flower crown slipped off. Leia picked it up and placed it back on the prince's head. Just then, their nanny finally found them. She hadn't been able to find the 2 little ones anywhere in the mansion. Seeing them safe and sound, she silently breathed a sigh of relief. Actually, Nanny Mia doesn't appear in the original story. Her fate was supposed to be suicide after her son's death due to her troubled marriage. But Leia's arrival truly changed her fate. Leia's birth gave this poor mother a renewed will to live. Leia placed another flower crown on Mia's head. "This one is especially for you, Nanny," she said. "Thank you, Mississippi. It's lunchtime. Also, the butler has taken care of the tutor situation. That won't happen again. So, Your Highness, if anything happens, you must tell Miss Leia. Our miss is very capable." Lane, the little demon lord, blushed and nodded obediently. It had been a month since he arrived at the Duke's mansion. Thanks to the good food, his cheeks had become chubby, and he had much more energy. Those who had bullied him because of his father had been expelled from the Empire by Lucy. Although Lane's nanny, Bill, hadn't shown his true colors yet, the Duke's staff were keeping a close watch on him, so he didn't dare to make any rash moves. In 2 days, it would be Leia's 5th birthday. Lane had been feeling down because he didn't know what to get her as a gift. He didn't really have anything he could give her. The thoughtful Mia asked Leia what she wanted for her birthday, right in front of him. Lane perked up, his little ears standing straight. But Leia still didn't understand why Mia suddenly asked this. She had already prepared a gift for Leia a week ago. Leia thought for a moment. Julian had promised to make it snow for her birthday. Lucy would give her a new book of fairy tales. "Is there anything else you want?" Mia asked. Suddenly, she noticed Lane looking glum. Leia immediately understood what her nanny was doing, but she couldn't quite think of anything a 5-year-old could prepare in 2 days. "Now that you mention it," Leia said, "I'd really like a chocolate chip cookie on my birthday." Mia wrote it down in her little notebook, constantly having to cater to a child's whims. "I really wish I could live a carefree life." Because of his dazzling blonde hair, the ugly child was relentlessly tormented by his mother every day. He was only given the dirtiest water to drink, and he was only allowed to eat food that had fallen on the floor. The runaway prince unexpectedly met his angel in a neighboring country. He thought he had the advantage, but then a Daniel Wu look-alike suddenly appeared. Not only was he more handsome, but he also brought a cute kitten. The only thing he had to offer were the cookies he baked himself. And Leia actually fed the cookies to little Prince Ace right in front of him. Leia woke up from the noise. Lucy had come to her daughter's room early. Although today was Leia's 5th birthday, she wasn't the type of child who could jump out of bed full of energy for her birthday, and she felt particularly heavy today. Lucy roused the sleepy girl and dressed her in a beautiful new outfit. Leia still couldn't open her eyes. Lucy was a little worried, but when she learned Leia was just sleepy, she knew immediately it must be because she was so excited about her birthday party that she hadn't slept well. Because she and Julian were the same way. They were both too excited and hadn't slept much. After all, her precious daughter was turning 5. Lucy placed a cute little crown on Leia's head. "Leia, it's almost the exact time you were born. 5 years ago today." Lucy felt that Leia was someone who could change fate. Leia didn't quite understand what Lucy meant. "The moment I saw you 5 years ago, I heard the sound of my fate changing." Ready, Leia went happily to find her father. Julian beamed at her. "It seems your first wish really came true, because it was actually snowing heavily outside. It was still autumn, which was incredible." Elsewhere, a mysterious woman looked at the sky, slightly dazed. She possessed the ability to see the past and the future, but she seemed surprised by this autumn snow. "Just one more year to wait. After 1,000 years, the one I've been waiting for. The one with pure blonde hair and purple eyes. The one who can end my story that I can finally meet them." Surrounded by everyone, Xiao Leia looked at the enormous cake, hers, yet taller than she was. "How am I supposed to finish this? Last year, it was a normal cake." Lucy told her not to worry about it for now. After all, as the birthday girl, she still had to go out and greet the guests. Upon hearing that Prince Ace was also coming, Lane, who had meticulously prepared a gift, accidentally dropped it on the floor. He looked at Xiao Leia quizzically. "Who's Prince Ace?" "A very, very good friend." Thinking of Lane's current wariness, Xiao Leia knew she had to mediate between them. Even if they couldn't be like brothers, she at least wanted them to be good friends. "Prince Ace is a 5-year-old boy. When the 3 of us play together, it'll be even more fun." But Lane seemed a little apprehensive. The Empress brought Prince Ace to Xiao Leia's birthday party. Ace greeted Xiao Leia enthusiastically, but when he saw a strange boy holding Xiao Leia's hand, he quickly grabbed her other hand. The air was thick with tension. Xiao Leia didn't know what to do. Thankfully, it was time to make a wish. Last year, She wished that God would let her wake up from this dream. But now, she only wished for everyone here to have a happy ending. Prince Ace presented his gift, a cute kitten doll. He really wanted to give her a real kitten, but his mother said he couldn't just give away a living creature. So how about this doll? Do you like it? Xiao Leia nodded appealing. Lane also shyly brought out his gift from behind his back. These are the chocolate cookies Xiao Leia said she wanted for her birthday. He watched as Xiao Leia took a bite. Lane looked like a child waiting for praise. Are they good? Xiao Leia nodded emphatically. Lane, you should try one too. But the boy shook his head. If they were good, he wanted to save them all for Xiao Leia. However, the next second, Xiao Leia fed the cookie in her hand to Prince Ace. Good things should be shared. Don't you agree, Ace? If you don't eat it, then I'll just have to eat it with Ace. Lane finally sat down obediently. He certainly wouldn't let the cookies he made himself be shared only between Xiao Leia and his rival. The Empress also presented her prepared birthday gift. Inside the exquisite gift box was a beautiful, luxurious crown. For the royal family to give a crown to a young lady from another family signified her as the chosen crown princess. This didn't seem like the Empress's idea at all. That wretched emperor. Just you wait. The 5-year-old girl displayed her ability for the first time. The wishes she made were coming true one by one on her birthday. Despite the summer heat, goose feathers of snow began to fall. The rival princes, surprisingly, held hands. But unbeknownst to them, the awakening of her powers was also draining her life force. She woke up burning with a fever over 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Her pretty face was flushed. She insisted she needed to eat 2 cookies to get better. Looking at the nonchalant Lucy and Julian, Xiao Leia wondered. They clearly knew the significance of accepting the crown, yet they hadn't done anything. Maybe she was overthinking it. Lin Jinyin, pushing a snowball, came to Xiao Leia to show off. Are you building a snowman? Xiao Leia asked, smiling at the 2 cute children. Yes, I'm going to make another one. Ji Xie chimed in, me too. Lin Jinyin wouldn't be outdone, but Xiao Leia was puzzled. The 2 snowballs together already made a snowman. Prince Ace, however, complained that Lane's snowball was too dirty. Lane turned his head, displeased. He didn't like Ace either. Seeing their animosity, Xiao Leia took their snowballs and put them together to make a snowman. But it didn't seem to help. They were just fine being rivals. Xiao Leia had a slight headache. Looking at the 2 who had started making new snowballs, Xiao Leia gently patted Lane's head. Now that you've built a snowman together, you should be good friends. Prince Ace and Lane glared at each other, each grabbing one of Xiao Leia's arms. Xiao Leia really didn't know how to mediate between them. She should have wished for them to be friends. Annoyed, Lane still couldn't stand Ace trying to steal Xiao Leia away. He pushed him to the ground. The sudden action caught everyone off guard. In her alarm, Xiao Leia yelled at Lane. But seeing the tears welling up in the boy's eyes, Xiao Leia realized what she had done. This poor child, who hadn't even dared to lift his head a while ago, and now she had yelled at him. She wanted to apologize, but Lane was inconsolably upset. He stammered, sorry. I'm sorry. Xiao Leia's heart skipped a beat. She didn't know how to comfort the hurt child. She helped Prince Ace up from the ground. Are you hurt? I'm okay, but he seems really upset. Xiao Leia, do you want me to be friends with him? Xiao Leia, of course, did. But she also wanted Prince Ace to consider his own feelings before doing anything, so she definitely wouldn't force him. To her surprise, Prince Ace actually offered to make up. Although Lane didn't particularly like him, he could understand why he was acting this way, because Prince Ace felt the same way. It was as if Xiao Leia could be taken away at any moment, so he thought he and Lane could become friends. I'll go make up with Lane. When we get back, the 3 of us can build a snowman together. Watching Prince Ace's retreating figure, Xiao Leia felt an indescribable sadness. She hoped they could both be happy, but who could tell her how to make that happen? Lane was sobbing in Lucy's arms. Seeing Prince Ace approach, he wiped his tears and stepped forward to apologize. I'm sorry, Prince Ace. I shouldn't have pushed you. It's okay, Lane. Let's be friends from now on. Prince Ace immediately took Lane's hand. Let's go apologize to Xiao Leia. Then we can build a snowman together. That night, when Xiao Leia went to bed, she felt unusually heavy. Am I getting a fever? I should be fine after I sleep. You won't be fine. A cold voice made Xiao Leia bolt upright in bed. Looking at the unfamiliar man before her, she asked, Who are you? What do you want? The man smiled slightly and told Xiao Leia not to be so wary. After all, you're in your dream right now. Xiao Leia didn't want to listen to the man's nonsense. She wanted to escape the room. But when she finally got a clear look at the man's face, she froze. He clearly looked like a grown-up Lane. The man walked step by step towards the bed. No, the child you're talking about should still be asleep in his own bed right now. Today is your birthday. So, happy 5th birthday, Xiao Leia. Xiao Leia never thought she would receive birthday wishes even in her dreams. I'll tell you something as a present. When you wake up, your body will hurt a lot. You need to be careful. But why? Xiao Leia didn't know whether to believe this man. But the current situation felt very surreal. Because your body hasn't fully grown yet, it can't handle the power of the gods. It's autumn now, but it snowed because of you. The power of the gods is also called Imu. For the children of the 3 great families, Imu is what allows them to manifest their abilities. It's because of this that you become stronger and healthier than ordinary people. Although Xiao Leia knew this, she had never discovered her own ability, and she certainly didn't have the power to control the weather. If you use your powers freely in your current body, you might pay the price with your life. So don't make any more wishes until you're older. Xiao Leia never imagined that something she said casually would have such serious consequences. But she still had to figure out who this man was. However, the man slowly dissipated before her eyes. I won't tell you. The girl never imagined that the wishes she made casually would all come true on her birthday. And as her wishes came true, her life force was also constantly draining away. The girl woke up burning with fever, over 105 degrees. Xiao Leia, who had never been sick before, must have frightened Lucy badly. "It's all right, miss. It's just a normal fever." She sat up with difficulty, wondering why she didn't see anyone else. She then learned that Lucy and Julian had gone to work, and Lane had been waiting outside the door. They hadn't let him in for fear he'd get infected, but he stubbornly refused to leave. What a troublesome child. Tell him not to wait at the door anymore. Inside the palace, Julian was carefully studying a book. He suspected that Xiao Leia's illness was related to the manifestation of her abilities. In the past, at Duke Theo's mansion and the Imperial Palace, anyone who had fallen ill invariably possessed abilities. And the reason his ancestors died young was entirely due to overuse of their abilities. But the Emperor didn't think so. After all, Xiao Leia was only 5 years old, and if it truly was the manifestation of her abilities, it meant that an evil spirit was about to descend upon the world. Instead of staying here, it's better to go back and spend time with the child. After what you said, I'll send a letter to Petitia and ask. Julian, leaving work early, watched Xiao Leia's head bobbing weakly. He was still worried about her condition. Xiao Leia, her consciousness gradually fading, mumbled about wanting cookies. Whenever I talked to Dad on the phone, he would always buy me a box of cookies. Julian looked puzzled. Although he didn't know what a phone was, buying cookies seemed like the right thing to do. So he decided to go to the cookie shop before Xiao Leia woke up. Mia suggested he take the prince with him. After all, he'd stood guard at Miss Leia's door all day. He must really want to do something for her. Julian brought Lane to the cookie shop. Looking at all the different kinds of cookies, he remembered how Xiao Leia had enjoyed each one. He decided to buy one of each kind, thinking about how this child would eventually return to his own empire and suffer at the hands of the Empress. A thought sprouted in Julian's mind. Why not just adopt Lane and keep him at home forever? Waking up, Xiao Leia saw her bed covered in cookies. Although she still felt a little unwell, she wasn't about to let a single cookie go to waste. The man in her dream had said his wish came true because of the power of God. A God grants you power because it's necessary, and he became the protagonist's older sister to save someone. Yet, so far, she hadn't fulfilled her own true wish. The recovering girl, seeing the reconciled Prince Ace, was undeniably happy. Xiao rushed forward and hugged Xiao Leia. He could finally relax now that she had recovered. Noticing the elaborate drawings on the floor, he asked, "What are you doing?" "We drew these to help you get better faster. We wanted to bring them to you, but..." Xiao Leia told them not to worry. It was just a normal fever. Seeing that Liang Xiaoji was still a little down, she asked, "What's wrong? Aren't you happy we can play together now?" "And no, we're just worried you'll get sick again, Leia. After all, we've never had a cold. And everyone says only people who awaken their powers get sick." It turned out their glumness stemmed from learning that overuse of powers could drain life force. Xiao Leia leaned closer to the two children. "Actually, this is all because I made a wish. I wished for everyone to be happy. But if you get sick, we won't be happy." Unsure how to comfort them, she could only say, "Someday, I'll make everyone happy," because that's how this story ends. In a few days, she would make another wish. Although she didn't like being sick, she had to see that man again, to ask about the things she didn't know, to meet the man from her dreams again. She was willing to expend her own life force to summon him. But what she didn't expect was for the man to forcefully enter her dream. I told you not to make wishes carelessly. Do you have so little regard for your life? Although she said no, Xiao Leia felt a little guilty facing his accusation. But isn't that what you intended? Her thoughts laid bare. Xiao Leia strode up to the man. Then what am I supposed to do? You said things I didn't understand, and then left. He sighed. All I know is all I can do is wait. Last time, I only came because I knew you'd awaken for a moment. But if you keep using your divine power so recklessly, you might die any day. Promise me you won't use your divine power until you're at least 15. You value your life, don't you? Xiao Leia nodded avardly. He would never guess that, compared to her own life, she cared more about everyone having a happy ending. So what are you waiting for? I was waiting for fate to arrive. But then you appeared, and everything started to change. Who are you? How did you escape fate? And how can you use divine power? Xiao Leia gently touched her face. I don't know. I just know I have to save someone. But I don't know who. If you don't know who to save, then you have to choose. If that's the case, I'll try my best not to change fate, because that's the only way everyone will have a happy ending. Even if it means suffering countless hardships. Even if it means Lane will be controlled by an evil spirit and suffer a fate worse than death. Is that okay? A deep sense of helplessness washed over Xiao Leia. She apologized repeatedly. She was the one who created the evil spirit, the culprit behind it all. She wanted to do something for him, but he shook his head. He never intended to change fate. He was just curious about her sudden appearance. Just a little hopeful. Xiao Leia knew better. He'd watched her for 5 years, yet he only claimed to be a little hopeful. You said I could choose, even small things. Is there anything I can do for you? Can you be my friend? I don't know why, but I really like you. And you're the first person who doesn't hate me. That's not hard at all. Although you haven't told me your name yet. Mine is Mile. He gently spoke her name. He told a lie. He knew who Xiao Leia was meant to save, but he couldn't tell her yet. You'll see him soon. He pinched her cheek. You should wake up now. I won't be visiting you again. But we just became friends. It's because we're friends that I don't want you to suffer. So please, don't use your divine power. And wishes aren't so easy to fulfill. Don't think everything will go your way. Besides, even if you do nothing, your mere presence has already changed a lot. So you must always be careful. People always do unexpected things. The nagging man sounded just like Xiao Leia's grandmother. Her ears were almost throbbing. He gently kissed the girl's forehead. Although I can't see you, I'll still come to visit you occasionally. Meanwhile, Julian, that was making preparations to adopt Lane. He didn't want the child to continue suffering, nor did he want his daughter to be saddened by her friend's misfortune one day. He hoped the peace between the two countries would last, and in his view, the peace between the children would surely continue, leading to world peace. Exhausted after a busy day traveling, Julian looked haggard. The first thing he did when he got home was, of course, hug his 2 adorable children. He had also prepared gifts, a small black rabbit and a crystal ball. Lane was captivated by the rabbit doll. He generously rewarded Julian with a hug. Xiao Leia had no idea when they had become so close. And in her memory, Julian wasn't this type of person. Lucy's voice interrupted Xiao Leia's thoughts as she stroked her forehead. What do you think about having another brother in the family? Only then did Xiao Leia realize they were preparing to adopt Lane. But she couldn't help but worry. Even if they did adopt him, when Petigia's prophecy came to pass, he would still be forced to be abandoned. Thinking that Xiao Leia was reluctant, Julian said, of course, not now. It will take a few months for the results. He was always considerate of her feelings. She couldn't stand such a Julian. Of course I'd like that, father. The prophet, who had prayed for thousands of years in order to find her own path, told a monstrous lie, bringing the girl to her side. She had seen through the fates of countless others, but she couldn't see through the schemes surrounding the girl. Instead, she felt that the girl was the one who could fulfill her wish. So please, save this world. Xiao Leia woke up early, but found the mansion unusually quiet. Logically, the news of Lane's adoption should have spread by now. The fates of the tutors and nannies were obvious. They would certainly be eliminated by the princess for their incompetence. But the woman was doing nothing now. Not even a single person could be seen. This unusual stillness made Xiao Leia feel uneasy. Tonight would pass, and tomorrow was Rowena's baptism day. This also meant that their family would be separated from Lane for a long time. Lane desperately wished tomorrow wouldn't come. Lucy stroked the child. I hope you won't be too lonely while we're gone. Only after the children had fallen asleep did Lucy suddenly ask about Julian's reason for adopting Lane. Although there were many reasons, the decisive factor was that Xiao Leia had called Lane brother. So, Xiao Leia was the first to accept Lane. That was true. If it weren't for Xiao Leia, Lucy wouldn't have wanted to bring Lane back to the Duke's mansion. She truly is our goddess. At night, Xiao Leia walked alone in the dimly lit room, letting the lonely moonlight fall randomly on her. It was all because of her. Lane hadn't gone to the palace, but had come to the Duke's mansion. And Julian's desire to adopt Lane was also entirely because of her. But they couldn't become a family. When Petizia prophesied the return of the evil spirit, the king of the neighboring country would never give the potential heir to anonymity to another family. But what should she do? Would he be leaving her side again? The next day, Xiao Leia's family arrived at the temple early. Following the guidance of several priests, from today onwards, Julian and Lucy would bathe and fast with Rowena. Since Xiao Leia wasn't required to join them, Julian was a little worried. But Xiao Leia reassured Julian that she would be fine on her own. She reluctantly waved goodbye. "My lady, you've grown up quite a bit." Looking at the kind priest, Xiao Leia had no memory of him. He explained, "I met you when you were very young, during your baptism." So it was normal that Xiao Leia didn't remember him. The priest offered her a soft candy. "This is my favorite. I wonder if you'll like it." Xiao Leia politely thanked him for his kindness. Then he took Xiao Leia on a tour of the temple. He led her to a giant faceless statue. God has never revealed his name or appearance. So, when this temple was built to respect God's will, his face wasn't carved. To prevent anyone from seeing the faceless statue of God, it was placed very high. That's why the statues here are all so enormous. Suddenly, she noticed a long corridor ahead, but the priest only saw the tall walls. The Book of Zheng contains this passage. "If a path appears before you, then it is God's will." That must be the path you seek, miss. Petizia is waiting for someone. Please forgive me. I can only escort you this far. Petizia uses prophecies to guide the protagonists on their future paths. She is shrouded in mystery. But why would she want to see me? Does she have a prophecy to share? Xiao Leia gently opened the wooden door. Even Xiao Leia couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Noticing Xiao Leia behind her, Petizia's body suddenly convulsed. Then she stood up with difficulty. She seemed surprised by this phenomenon. Apparently, before this, she had been unable to move no matter what she tried. For 20 days, while a child receives baptism and bathes with their father, she must remain here in prayer. During this time, she could do nothing but pray. Then, over these 20 days, she witnesses the child's entire life. The prophecies people speak of are merely her recounting memories she's seen thousands of times. The power God granted her is not simply prophecy, but the ability to see the past and the future. The scenes she has witnessed begin with the first guardians sealing the evil spirit and end with Ina, who vanquished the evil spirit, marrying Lane. After that, there's only darkness. At first, she thought the evil spirit had vanished, but after a millennium here, she began to have doubts. Is there truly nothing beneath that darkness? And when she realized this, she also discovered she had no memories from before becoming Petizia. Petizia is her duty, not her name. Gently holding Xiao Leia's small hand, she said, "To see you again, I told a lie for the first time. I have no prophecy for you, and I cannot tell you which path to take. Instead, I seek my own path from you. I have prayed here for over 1,000 years. The answer to my prayers, the one who can grant my wish. I believe that is you. So please, save this world. This is my plea. When the saintess in the comic refuses to succumb to her fate, she will, with deep conviction, awaken the author who created her body and soul, leading everyone to write a new chapter. So you've been calling to me all this time. But do you know who I am?" Petizia shook her head in confusion. "Then why do you ask me to save the world? Is it simply because I am someone whose destiny doesn't belong to this world? It's because you saved someone from the moment you were born. Mia's original fate was to succumb to the grief of losing her son. Rowena should have ended her life before you were born. But your arrival gave her hope, and she has lived until now. Your existence saved her." Gently embracing Xiao Leia's trembling body. "It's all right now. She won't leave you. Why hadn't she thought of it before? Who was she supposed to save in this world? There was no need to think about it. She needed to save everyone she had created. Although she knew it was a heavy burden to ask a mere 5-year-old to save the world, especially since she herself didn't know how, she still hoped Xiao Leia could change this world's fate. Xiao Leia abruptly looked up. What about you, Petisha? If I want to save you, what should I do? After a brief moment of distraction, tears, the likes of which she hadn't shed in millennia, streamed down Petisha's face. Little Xiao Leia, you must be the savior God has sent me. 20 days later, Mia, her body frail, completed the baptism in the temple. Petisha's prophecy arrived as expected. The evil spirit will return, and the children of this land will become guardians. Elsewhere, Ace and Lane were happily admiring an apple when a servant suddenly arrived with urgent news. Petisha's prophecy finally reached the Empire. The evil spirit will return. But before anyone could react, a violent coughing fit erupted. Lane stared in disbelief at the blood on his hands, completely bewildered. Lane's vision blurred, and he finally collapsed. Ace kept vigil by Lane's bedside, terrified that Lane wouldn't wake up. Mia saw Ace's worry. It's all right, Your Highness. The young prince is bravely fighting the poison in his body. He'll wake up soon. Please don't cry, Your Highness. But Ace was still consumed by guilt. He had listened to Xiao Leia and stayed by Lane's side, yet he still failed to protect him. They had eaten the same food, but only Lane was suffering. Mother once said that if you pray earnestly, God will hear your wishes. Let's pray for Lane together. Okay. He didn't want Lane to suffer alone. Please, God, share Lane's pain with me. Let him overcome this hardship. Upon hearing this, Xiao Leia rushed back. None of these events had happened in the Book of Aid. It's all my fault that you're in so much pain. I'm the one who wrote your destiny, leaving only despair. Only when you suffer will the evil spirit come to you. Only then can we repel the evil and usher in a happy ending. But this time, he will bear the pain for Lane. So, Lane, you must wake up tomorrow. If the world after the grand finale is a sea of unknown darkness, then please allow yourself to be happy before the curtain falls. Let this world be destroyed, okay? The boy never imagined that the wish he casually made would come true the very next day. And at the same time his wish came true, he also developed a high fever of 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Lane woke up from his coma, but Ace and Xiao Leia both developed high fevers. It turned out that Ace's sincere prayer unintentionally triggered the awakening of his special ability. And at the same time his ability awakened, it also caused a headache as a side effect. Turning to look at the feverish Ace, she knew without thinking that he was the same as her. Tell me honestly, what did you do? A stammering little Ace. He just wanted to help Lane share some of the pain. Xiao Leia was still angry at this scapegoat. What's the deal with taking on someone else's illness? Listen to me, Ace. The wishes we make seriously now will really come true. But at the same time, there's a price to pay. So you're not allowed to make any more wishes casually. But a little sulkiness appeared on Ace's face. You're always picking on me. You're sick too, obviously. You must have made the same wish as me, right? Although Ace had a point, Xiao Leia used her young age as an excuse. It's okay to make a wish on my birthday, right? No, not even on your birthday. Ace immediately became unhappy because on his birthday, he made a wish to marry Xiao Leia, so he still wanted to make the same wish next year. Xiao Leia's demeanor suddenly changed with this unexpected seriousness. She never thought this child was still thinking about marriage. On the other side, Lane had just gotten out of bed when Lucy told him some great news. Before the prophecy came to pass, they had already received the adoption papers from Lane's father. But Lane seemed a little unhappy. If we separate, will you still be my mom and dad? Not quite understanding what the child meant, Lane then expressed his desire to return to the kingdom. Lucy also understood. The evil spirit would descend again. These things couldn't be helped. Holding the child's small hand, she said, "You don't have to force yourself if you don't want to. But if he didn't go back, everyone would be in a difficult position. And if his powers awakened, could he protect Ace and his sisters?" Lucy looked at the child with heartache. Even so, there's no need to sacrifice yourself. But Lane told her with great certainty, this isn't a sacrifice. It's so that everyone can live happily together. So I'll go back to the kingdom with the History Jet group. Having just overheard, Xiao Leia stepped forward and grabbed Lane's collar. I absolutely won't let you go. Even if they want to send you away, you should refuse with all your might. How can you just agree to go? Ace also had a tearful face. He really didn't understand why Lane wanted to leave. Giving Ace and Xiao Leia a big hug, Lane clearly knew that they were both sick because of him. But how did you know we were sick? I had a very long dream while I was unconscious. In the dream, Someone who claimed to be Xiao Leia's friend told me. He also asked me to tell you, thank you for being his friend. The future had changed. Although he would disappear, it was enough that she was there. Tears unconsciously slid from the corners of her eyes. Was it because she had changed the future that the original Lane had disappeared? But she still didn't understand why the current Lane had to go back. Because I also want everyone to be happy. So, Xiao Leia, call me Big Brother one more time. If this was the life Lane had firmly chosen, Xiao Leia would support him without hesitation. Because he needed to atone. So no matter what happens, you must never give up on yourself. From the crybaby prince who hid behind the girl when he was little, he grew up to be a sweet and affectionate young man admired by countless girls. But Ace, who was always in love with Xiao Leia, naturally wasn't interested in anyone else. He only wanted to stay by Xiao Leia's side, going shopping with other girls. That might as well be cuddling with a goddess, because she loved coffee so much that the grown-up Xiao Leia secretly opened a coffee shop without telling anyone. The unique flavor and popularity meant Xiao Leia often worked late at the shop under a different identity. Xiao Leia, having just returned home, happened to run into Ina, who had just woken up. She gave her sister an enthusiastic hug. But why was her sister's body so cold? Xiao Leia could only make up an excuse to brush it off. All right, Ina, let's go eat. Don't make mom and dad wait too long. Watching her sister drink a glass of iced coffee every day, Ina also wanted to try Julian. It's just like back then. Kids should stick to milk. But Karina strongly disagreed, because she heard that recently a coffee shop in the shopping district was really popular, and many people her age felt the same. However, she never would have guessed that the oldest employee at the coffee shop she mentioned was the older sister sitting right in front of her. Diana, unable to maintain her stern facade any longer, agreed to let her go to the coffee shop. Ina, of course, wanted her sister to come along. And Prince Ace's birthday is coming up soon. We can look for a birthday present while we're there. Come to think of it, I haven't spent much time with Ina lately because of the shop. But isn't Ace's birthday still 2 months away? Isn't it a little early to be preparing a gift? It's not early at all. It's Prince Ace's coming-of-age ceremony. And after Prince Ace's birthday, it's my birthday. Diana pinched Ina's cheek affectionately. That's your real motive, isn't it? It works out perfectly. Lucy and Julian will be busy working late tonight. They've been like this lately. Has grown up so fast. Xiao Leia brought Ina to her coffee shop, but her mind kept drifting back to work. Ina's call interrupted Xiao Leia's days. Ina wanted to say something to her sister, but hesitated and stammered for a long time without managing to get it out. Ina, do you know what the most frustrating thing is? It's when someone takes a bite of cake and then stops talking mid-sentence. Xiao Leia, sigid Helpless. All right. Actually, she was hoping Xiao Leia could get some proper rest today. Even though it's a rare outing for us, sister, you always seem so tired. Ina took a sip of her coffee, but the taste was completely different from what she expected. It's so bitter. By the way, sister, have you thought about what gift you're going to give Prince Ace? Xiao Leia had thought about this. Cufflinks or a handkerchief. Those should be fine, right? But Ina felt that those things were too ordinary. It's Prince Ace's coming-of-age ceremony. After all, even though he'd be happy with anything you give him, sister, it's still best to give him something that looks like you put some thought into it. Xiao Leia thought for a long time. It couldn't be too extravagant, but it couldn't be too ordinary either. It also couldn't be a gift that seemed too intimate. Cufflinks are still the best choice. Ina, after we finish our dessert, let's go look at some gemstones. If we're choosing gemstones for cufflinks, let's go with purple. Sister, wouldn't giving him a gemstone the same color as my eyes mean that I'm interested in him? Wait a minute, Ina. You don't think I'm secretly dating Ace, do you? Ina pouted. Going on dates every week. How was that a secret relationship? What dates? Sister is just playing with a little kid, okay? You're only 14, don't be silly. But Ace doesn't hide his affection at all, and I'm used to accepting his feelings from a suitable distance. Looking at it this way, it's no wonder Ina thinks we're in love with each other, just unable to be together because of family reasons. By the way, I might give you your birthday present a little late, Ace. It's okay, you can give it to me later. But he also wanted to ask Xiao Leia for a different kind of gift. On the day of my coming-of-age ceremony, could you wear the gift I picked out for you? Xiao Leia was completely confused, but wouldn't that make it a gift from you to me? However, Ace didn't see it that way. For him, as long as Xiao Leia looked beautiful, it was the best gift for him. Just thinking about it made him feel happy. The crybaby prince drinks every day. Amazingly, Whenever the dessert bottle cap is about to get tipsy, he cups the princess's face and, fueled by alcohol, goes in for a cabinet. He actually went straight for a domineering forced kiss. As the main character of this banquet, Ace stood majestically in the center of the dance floor. The current Ace, although his personality was still pretty much the same as in the original story, was finally no longer the fool who smiled at everyone. Just as she started to feel relieved, that signature goofy grin appeared right in front of her. Xiao Leia sighed helplessly. It seemed she was overthinking things. Noticing her sister's evasive gaze, Aina became even more convinced of her guess. Sister and Prince Ace must be dating. Xiao Leia had just gone to change into her formal dress when Ace immediately followed her. The tiara alone was heavy enough, and with all these bracelets on top of it, Xiao Leia felt like her neck was going to break. Noticing Ace's hesitant expression, she knew exactly what he was going to say. She extended her hand towards him, preempting his words. I know I'm beautiful, so stop complimenting me. The prince, with a goofy smile on his face, gently kissed Xiao Leia's hand. That's so cheesy. Well, it hasn't been just a day or two of cheesiness. That's true. The little Ace from before was cuter. He was always clamoring to marry me. He lowered his head silently. After a while, as if finally mustering up his courage, he carefully took her hand and whispered into Xiao Leia's ear. I like you. Even though I used to say it all the time when we were little, I haven't said it much lately. I turned my head, avoiding his gaze. Because we're not kids anymore. But even if we're not kids, that doesn't change how I feel about you. Because of his status as a prince, the sole heir to the throne, he's carried a lot of heavy responsibilities since he was young. Duty, responsibility, sacrifice. Just hearing those words is tiring. He doesn't want to be emperor at all. He just wants a girl he likes to always be by his side. Maybe it's a little selfish, but he doesn't want to hold back anymore. Holding Xiao Leia's hand. With the opening of the palace gates, everyone's eyes fell on the 2 stars of the day. They danced in the center of the 5 pools, just like when they were children. Noticing Xiao Leia's aching feet, Ace wanted to take her home. But Xiao Leia seemed to have thought of something. She decided they should drink every year on his birthday. Ace was puzzled. Weren't they drinking right now? No, not this kind of drink. I'm talking about strong alcohol. The kind that gets you completely drunk. Although he didn't quite understand what Xiao Leia meant. Come to think of it, he did receive a lot of alcohol as birthday gifts. The 2 of them arrived at Ace's room, looking at the delicious food and drinks on the table. Xiao Leia looked at them longingly, like a kitten. Just seeing the color made her think it would taste good. She skillfully handed the wine glass to Ace. The crisp clinking of glasses seemed particularly sharp in the quiet room. Strangely, after just one drink, he felt dizzy. But why did Xiao Leia seem completely fine? They clearly drank the same amount. Looking at the dizzy Ace, Xiao Leia placed the crown from her head onto his. Realizing Xiao Leia was about to leave, Ace abruptly stood up. As the crown was placed back on her head, he asked, Xiao Leia, can I kiss you? Although she said no, she couldn't suppress her racing heart. Then a peck is okay, right? Silly, do you even know the difference between a kiss and a peck? He didn't wait for her to answer. He cupped Xiao Leia's face in his hands, and his lips landed on hers. This is a peck. Next comes the kiss. The innocent prince pretends to be drunk every night and then forcibly kisses the girl he's long admired. To bravely express his feelings, he even downed a glass of 90 proof Sprite. Actually, he's always wanted more than just marrying Xiao Leia. Although he knows making wishes consumes his life force, Ace still makes the same wish every year. He hopes the girl he likes will also fall in love with him. Looking at the drunken Ace, Xiao Leia quietly closed the door. You must be so happy, because your wish has already come true. The next day, waking up with a start, she had no idea when she'd gotten drunk. Remembering the events of last night, that Ace, who always tagged along behind her since they were kids, actually kissed her. What should she do? She was just a character who wasn't supposed to exist in the first place. She noticed a note on the floor. If the Prime Minister and the second princess go out, you must report to me. It was from Marquis Igra, who had planted a spy in the Duke's household. But for Xiao Leia, who already knew the plot, she had the spy completely under her thumb. With threats and intimidation, she forced him to become a double agent, reporting the Marquis's actions to her. That person wants to secretly kill Julian during the aid mission, leaving only Aina, the sole heir to the Duke's estate. Because Marquis Igra and Julian were enemies, and only Aina could awaken Aina, there was no need for Julian, that meddlesome prime minister, to live. And she had originally set all this up just so Aina could awaken Aina. But because of her appearance, that person now wanted to kill Aina too. After all, the Duke's estate had 2 heirs, and Xiao Leia was the first to receive the prophecy. So everyone thought she was the one who would awaken. Marquis Igra wanted to make his daughter the Empress. For him, both Aina and Julian were obstacles. Although she could stop the assassination plot, she still needed to come up with a plan soon. She couldn't always be on the defensive. Mia suddenly arrived at Xiao Leia's room with Aina. Smelling the strong scent of alcohol on her sister, Aina was curious. "Did you and Prince Ace kiss last night?" Xiao Leia couldn't understand why Aina was suddenly acting like this. But Aina looked very disappointed. "Brother said he would kiss you on his birthday. Did that jerk Ace really tell you that?" She realized then that last night wasn't an accident. That crybaby had planned it all along. Seeing Xiao Leia's reaction, Mia sighed helplessly. It seems like it wasn't just a kiss. Massaging her aching head, she lamented, "My young mistress got drunk and caused trouble." Mia had come to discuss Xiao Leia's coming-of-age ceremony. Although Xiao Leia's birthday was still more than 6 months away, they needed to start preparing the guest list in advance. Xiao Leia nodded absentmingly. However, she did have someone else she wanted to invite. To properly deal with the Marquis Igra situation, Xiao Leia met privately with Lady Lena of the Marquis's household. But Lena couldn't understand why. They didn't have any particular relationship, yet Xiao Leia had reserved the entire garden, inviting only her. "May I ask why you wanted to see me?" Xiao Leia didn't want to waste time on pleasantries. "It's just the 2 of us here. I came to ask you what you think about the Guardians. I don't know what answer you're looking for, but I believe the Guardians are subservient to the world." He couldn't think of any other answer. "Miss Tianyao, are you wary of me because of the Crown Princess position?" "I've never considered the Crown Princess position. On the contrary, I want to show my sincerity in restoring the former glory of the Marquis's household." Xiao Leia was very clear on this. Lena, merely a pawn of the Marquis, set down her flower tea. "Helena, do you want to be buried with the Igla Marquis household? Or do you choose to betray him and save your own life?" "What you said earlier is correct. The 3 great families must protect this world, no matter what. The families must continue. We are the guardians of this generation. So, even if the previous generation, who were responsible for producing heirs, are gone, it doesn't matter. Or if there are 2 heirs, it wouldn't be a problem if one died." But who would think that way? Lena couldn't understand what Xiao Leia meant. However, the answer Xiao Leia gave next was like a bolt from the blue, filling Lena with fear and unease. Her father actually had murderous intentions towards Duke Theo. But isn't that the same as treason? If that's the case, the family will also be implicated. I absolutely will not allow this to happen. So even if it meant betraying his own family, he had to stop his father. But Xiao Leia told him there was no need. Even if he didn't stop Marquis Igla, nothing would happen to Julian, because Aina was about to awaken her healing ability. This was an irreversible fate. "Then what do you want from me?" Lena felt her mind reeling. "I want to save you." Xiao Leia was currently certain that fate could be changed. She wanted to use Lena as her test subject. "Maybe I can not only save your life, but also your family. So from now on, listen carefully to what I say." To get closer to the girl he liked, the prince secretly moved into her house without anyone in the kingdom knowing. Wanting to quickly become closer to Xiao Leia, Ace enthusiastically invited her to practice sword fighting. Since they had grown up, they hadn't really practiced alone together. And watching Ace train these past few days gave Xiao Leia a feeling of being in a different world. "Fine, I'll play along with you." After a simple warm-up, generally speaking, someone like Ace, a descendant of the protective Azel, shouldn't have any weaknesses. Xiao Leia launched the first attack. Ace was completely caught off guard. He hadn't expected Xiao Leia to attack head-on. She couldn't possibly beat him with strength alone. As Xiao Leia swung her sword, she also stomped hard on Ace's foot. Taking advantage of Ace's retreat, Xiao Leia threw away the wooden sword in her left hand and punched him hard. Although he had completely neutralized Xiao Leia's attack, Ace didn't counterattack. He was still worried about accidentally hurting her. Throwing away her sword during sparring, Xiao Leia had certainly taught him a lesson. "Are you misunderstanding something? We're supposed to be fighting evil spirits, not each other." It was more like Xiao Leia was teaching him, and the result this time was obvious. Xiao Leia was right. It seemed he needed to change his training methods. Ayane's 15th birthday arrived quickly. Watching her younger sister making a wish, Xiao Leia also secretly made a wish. She hoped all of Ayane's wishes would come true. And the overly enthusiastic Pyrrhus, along with Ace who kept staring at her, those two were completely treating her like a daughter-in-law and wife already. After today, our Aina should officially make her debut in society. But Aina wasn't ready at all, so she used Xiao Leia as a shield. We've already had coming-of-age ceremonies for older sister and brother Ace this year. Mine could be postponed until next year. Besides, it's not good to have so many large events at once. Ace took out the birthday present he had prepared, a pair of matching earrings, just like Xiao Leia's. This seemingly normal reason actually had an ulterior motive. After Aina got her ears pierced, she would have to wear earrings for a month. And Aina, who loved to act spoiled with him, would definitely ask him to wear matching earrings. That guy was really annoying. Although Leon couldn't personally attend Ayane's birthday party, he had sent a carefully prepared gift. Aina stared blankly at Leon's gift. Unsure when she would see him again, Leia could only comfort the saddened Aina, saying that he would return as soon as Aina awakened her powers. But in her heart, she knew he wouldn't return until Xiao and took the kingdom. Both Ace and Ryan had changed. She estimated she wouldn't see Xiao in again until the third guardian awakened. And the awakening of the third guardian also signified the beginning of the all-out war against the evil spirits. Neri suggested that they visit Ryan's kingdom. Although the domestic situation wouldn't allow both of them to leave at the same time, having one of them go as a representative of the student union would be a valuable experience. Ace wanted to give this opportunity to Leia, but Leia felt Ace was more suited for the initial experience. After all, up until now, Ace had always lived in a kind world. Experiencing Xiao's world firsthand would be an essential part of his growth. Watching her beloved older sister collapse in a pool of blood, young Aina awakened her powers for the first time, despite Leia repeatedly urging her father to stop Aina. She didn't want her sister to be harmed because of her. Julian looked at the dying Leia. This was also his beloved daughter, so he could never just stand by and watch. Aina, listen, only you can save your sister. Knowing the plot of the original story, today was the day Aina and Julian were going on an outing. It was also the day Aina would awaken her healing ability. To protect her sister, Leia naturally had to stay by her side. Aina, who already wanted her sister with her, became even happier, looking at the earrings in Ayane's ears. The same ones Ace had given Leia. Julian suddenly appeared from behind. Aina wanted to invite Ace, but Julian was clearly displeased. Why bother with him? He's only lived here for a month, and he's already stolen both my daughters. The carriage slowly traveled along the quiet forest path. Aina hummed happily along the way, because it was her first carriage ride and her first outing with her father and sister. But noticing Leia's unusual state, thinking she was carsick, Julian also noticed her pale face. She was going crazy. Was she that obvious? Gripping her trembling hands, she wished it would all end quickly. Maybe we should rest before continuing. But suddenly, Leia cried out. Yet, there was no expected pain. Julian had blocked the assassin's attack. Although it hurt, it wasn't serious. Whispering in her father's ear, if anything happens later, you must stop Aina. She then stood up and exited the carriage under the protection of the attendants. Leia tried to grab Ayane's hand, but unexpectedly, the assassin attacked again. Seeing Leia fall to the ground, blood gushing out, Julian felt his heart shatter. Holding Leia tightly, my child will be all right. At that moment, young Aina awakened her healing ability. Julian stared in disbelief, recalling Leia's words. Had she known all along? But if she knew, why didn't she stop it? Why let herself be hurt? Overusing her powers would have side effects. Leia didn't want Aina to shorten her lifespan to save her. Gently laying down Leia, it didn't matter now if Leia knew beforehand. Holding Ayane's shoulders, Aina, listen to me. We must save your sister. Only you can do this. Daddy will remove the sword, and then you use your power to heal her. Staring at her hands filled with power, she had never been so determined. I will, Daddy. Transmigrated into the non-existent older sister of the original story's heroine, the girl risked her own safety to protect her sister. Seeing her sister impaled by the sword, young Aina finally awakened her healing ability. When Julian pulled the sword from Leia's body, Aina immediately released her power. A powerful magical aura surrounded her. Although the wound on her neck was visibly healing, Aina was drenched in cold sweat. Seeing this, Julian quickly stopped her. Enough, Aina. She should be fine now. To prevent another attack, Julian decided to have his knights escort Aina away first. He had to ensure his daughter's safety, but the injured Leia couldn't ride a horse, so he had to stay and watch over her. Fortunately, Lucy arrived in time with the knights. Meanwhile, after learning what happened, Ace felt that Leia knew a lot, but never told them anything. When Leia awoke from her coma, she saw Aina and Lucy and G by her bedside. Noticing her older sister had awakened, Aina used her powers again. Leia wanted to stop her, but couldn't make a sound. She learned from the doctor that her vocal cords might be damaged. Fortunately, the wound on her neck had begun to heal, so she would recover with some rest. Seeing Julian so heartbroken, Leia knew she had to say something, but she didn't know how to comfort him. After all, she was originally a character who shouldn't exist. But in order to be responsible for this story, she had this life. And precisely because of this thought, she had never truly faced her family in the past 20 years. "I'm so sorry," the slowly falling asleep girl whispered. When she woke up again, it was already evening. She wanted to check her injuries, but a large hand held hers tightly. "Your vocal cords are damaged. It's best not to speak if you want to recover. But it seems you can't speak now anyway," he said, holding her small hand with heartache. Only a week had passed, but the girl he cherished had already lost a lot of weight. "You have to get better no matter what. Aina is here too, so just be patient for a few months, and you'll definitely recover, Leia." Seeing Ace's tears fall, Leia's small hand slid across his palm. She didn't want Ace to cry because of her. "But isn't it you who made me cry? You know me too well, but I don't understand you at all." This made him feel afraid, but none of that mattered now. He only hoped that the girl in front of him wouldn't be hurt and could stay by his side forever. After a period of recuperation, Leia had fully recovered. But due to Ina's awakening, Julian also wanted to know what the first prophecy he received was. After all, Leia seemed to have known that Ina would awaken. She sighed helplessly. It seemed she couldn't hide it this time. Compared to a prophecy, what Peditha gave her was more like a plea. She wanted Leia to change the future and save the world. In the near future, before the war with the evil spirits begins, the Guardians will be at risk of being killed by humans. But aren't Guardians supposed to protect humans? Ina couldn't understand why, but what she didn't know was that this was the storyline Leia had created. And the villain who originally wanted the world to end was the male lead, Lane. And what created Lane was this world, being forcibly stood up by the girl he had a crush on. The crybaby prince's handsome face spiked a fever of 90 degrees. He still felt that Leia was a little different than before. But the shy boy didn't notice Ina suddenly appearing behind him. Looking at Ace's tomato-red face, she knew what he had been doing without even thinking. But the crybaby prince naturally wouldn't admit it easily. And ever since she felt the care from her family, Leia clearly realized that she loved them all. Both her family in reality, and the characters she wrote. For the next few days, Ace always stayed by Leia's side. After all, she was still weak, and he didn't want her to suffer any more harm. But the girl with the sweet tooth still wanted to sneak some snacks. "Then let's go on a date." Faced with Ace's boundless affection, Leia happily hugged his arm. "It's so nice to have you." Meanwhile, Lane, who was still in the neighboring country, was currently with his paternal half-brother. How strange. I didn't expect Father to summon us both at the same time. Along the way, his brother chattered nonstop to Lane about various things. He noticed the accessory on his brother's waist, something he had never seen before. It's also a belated birthday present. He also clearly knew that his brother's heart never seemed to be here. But he was his younger brother, watching his two sons slowly approach. The king hesitated for a long time with the secret book in his hand. Finally, he handed it to Lime, and as he finished reading the entire contents, his clenched fists trembled uncontrollably. "I can't play with you today, Arbor. Maybe another day." He originally thought the Empire would be safe, but now Theo's family had been attacked. Not only was Leia hurt, but Ina had also awakened to the conspiracy. Although he knew Leia was capable, he still couldn't help but worry. Seeing the prince's emotional instability, his advisor said, "If you're worried, you can go to Biggie yourself." But Klein couldn't, even at his fastest pace. It would take 4 months to get there. He couldn't leave the Imperial Palace for that long. He looked at the white roses, now in full bloom. He reached out and gently plucked one. This was the flower he intended to give to Xiao Leia. He'd heard that drying them made the fragrance last longer. Because of this, his office was already filled with white roses. If anyone knew that the prince's hobby was flower arranging, they'd be greatly surprised. And this hobby only started because Xiao Leia had once personally given him a red,